welcome back to another episode of Dogfight Podcast. I am your host, Uriah.
And I'm your host, Pavel.
Oh, man. I'm so you were saying that like off air that I was kind of I should have been glad that I missed this card, but I watched the highlights, man. They're pretty good.
You know what? Like, I was ripping on it a little bit after the card, but then I thought about it and I looked over some of the highlights, and I'm like, you know what? That wasn't so bad. And like, if nothing else, this card does have the draw that it is one of the most violent MMA cards I've ever seen. But I'm getting ahead of myself.
Or for those who don't know what we're talking about the recent fight card, which was Cory Sandhagen and Yadong. Unfortunately, I missed literally all of it because I was driving back from. I was being a giant nerd and playing airsoft in the woods. Drove 3 hours for that shit, had fun, but ended up missing the card.
I mean,
I didn't get home till like 2 in the morning or something like that.
Damn.
Yeah, it was bad. And then
Fair
just
enough,
slept
yeah.
all day on Sunday.
I mean, honestly, that's fair though. At least you had fun though.
No, it was
I mean,
good
like I
though.
said, like, you know, this card was interesting. It's like I don't know like where I'd put it in terms of like I think in terms of sheer quality, I would put it below some of the recent ones, but it was still like worth watching. It was still good. It was just kind of like a strange card, you know.
I feel like we've had a lot of those recently. Like the energy is weird, or like the matchmaking doesn't make sense for some reason or another.
I mean, 279, of course, was the weirdest.
I think 279 is gonna go down in the history books as being probably the weirdest card out there.
I mean, it's either that or 209, I guess, with Ally Akinta fighting for the title on like what 24 hours notice. I don't even remember.
And that was after like Max Holloway, I think, was supposed to fight for it.
Yeah.
So let that sink in for a second.
Yeah, that was that was but that was ancient history. So we'll talk.
Oh, God, don't say it's ancient history. That makes me feel old. Oh man.
I mean, what year was 209? Give me a sec here.
That had to have been like 2017, 2018, right?
Yeah, that's not that old. Come on. Yeah, it was March 2017. Okay, that is kind of old.
Oh,
I mean, like, because like I think back to where I was around the time. Whew, not a great time for me. So
stop making me feel old.
I'm sorry. Anyways,
let's get down to it.
Back to talk about it. Yep. Let's start with the main event. We much hyped and much lamented that you missed it. Main event was Cory Sandhagen versus Song Yadong for not really a title eliminator, but to put your name like on the short list of title contenders, really, for whoever wins the Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw fight, which is on UFC 280, not 281. Like I said last episode, I was wrong. Yuri, you called me on it, and I brushed you off, so I will eat some crow on that. But so it was. I you know what, I gotta say, I kind of ripped on Song a lot coming in. I said I thought he was far off contention. I thought even if he won this fight, he wouldn't be in the title picture. But
he looked good.
I got to give him credit. He looked real good.
He looked real good. So this is for reference, I actually ended up watching most of the main card on like Sunday when I was just kind of hanging out, just because I didn't want to watch highlights. I just wanted to watch it the full fight, so I found a stream. But Song looked really good for keeping pace with a dude like Cory Sandhagen, which I said last week. I'll say it again. Sandhagen is violence personified.
Yeah, and violence personified is going to be a theme on this card.
But
yeah, so like, and it was an evenly matched fight. I mean, a lot of the like 2 of the 3 scorecards I checked after that, the fight was stopped in round 4 because Cory Sandhagen landed a nasty lead.
Sliced him.
If you remember when I was gushing about the super leg elbow on the One Championship episode we did, Cory Sandhagen did an elbow like that, like a upright lead elbow, sliced Song right over the eyebrow, and the cut just kind of kept getting worse and worse. And oh my God, it turned out it was a really awful cut, and it was stopped after round 4. After a doctor stoppage. Honestly, I think it should have been stopped around earlier.
They kept calling the doctor in between every round, and the doctor's like, "Oh, up to you," like talking to the ref. Or I think was it Herb Dean?
It was Herb Dean.
Ah, shocker.
But honestly, like, yeah, the doctor, we'll come back to the doctor. The doctor was very
Very laissez-faire
laissez-
the entire time.
exactly, very laissez-faire. this was a this was a crazy card on that front. But you know what? I gotta say, and on 2 of the 3 scorecards, the fight was tied entering the 5th round.
Was it
Personally,
really?
I had it scored 3-1 for Sandhagen, but there was a little bit of commentary bias there because the commentator was really gassing up Cory a lot. So credit where it's due. Song really looks like he can hang with the top 5.
Yeah,
And
again, yeah, he looked really good, and if you're able to hang with a guy like Cory, I mean, that speaks enough volumes already.
a guy like Cory, who, again, in my opinion, beat TJ Dillashaw and probably should be challenging for the title right now.
Oh, easily. I still
So,
think he beat, and I think preaching the choir here. I think a lot of people think that he beat Dillashaw,
yeah, we'll talk about TJ Dillashaw soon when we talk about 280,
but
which is coming up. But
so as I was watching the fight, my main concern with Cory is that he's really favoring that flying knee.
oh boy, he was spamming that.
He kept spamming it the entire time. I'm like, dude, all right, it works. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
it works. It put what? Who was it? Frankie Edgar.
poor Frankie Edgar.
It put Frankie Edgar out to pasture.
Yeah,
But this is a sport where lightning doesn't always strike twice,
yeah.
and he keeps kind of forcing it on him, and that keeps opening him up to a lot of sketchy situations. So I think maybe that's something that hopefully they're going to refine, because if he keeps trying to throw that against another like high level striker who can automatically read that, that's not
He,
good.
he's gonna get caught. Like we
He's
talked
gonna get
about it
caught
a
hard.
few weeks ago. We had that Ode Osborne versus Tyson Nam fight. Ode Osborne threw his flying knee twice, and he got starched on the second one. So Corey's playing with fire because that's at flyweight, and that's only one division off. With a worse fighter was able to
And I
capitalize on
think
it.
Song was reading that too, because as he would come down, Song would throw like an elbow or something as soon as he came down. Like, man, if they're already reading that as soon as you drop down, you should probably just stop doing that.
Right, exactly. So it's one of those moves you throw them once, maybe twice, and if it doesn't hit, you gotta put it away because otherwise they're gonna start reading it. And when you're in the air, you can't move, you can't dodge, you're just hanging there, which is what happened to Ode Osborne and why Tyson Nam grinned so wide when he saw him do that and put it up.
Mm.
So I don't know. Look, Corey's better than Ode Osborne. Let's be real here, but still, like he's got to be careful. But you know what? Good on him. I think he put himself in the title conversation, and really, I think he's one fight away from the title. After the win on
Who
Sunday
did
on
he? I know he called out. So, oh, he called out Cheeto Vera.
Cheeto Vera. That's the
That
fight.
would. I want to watch that fight.
That is probably, in all likelihood, the fight to make right now. It depends on how Piotr Jan versus Sean O'Malley goes on 280. If Piotr Jan wins that fight, there is an argument he should be entitled in that fight instead of one of them. I would say maybe I couldn't say which one he would boot out, but also he had his shot. And if Aljamain Sterling defends against TJ, then anything can happen. Like if Aljamain wins, he already has technically 2 wins, but really 1 win over Piotr. So then the fight to make would be Cheeto versus Cory. And look, he has a win over Sandhagen, but Sandhagen's worked his way back. So um, fun fact: the Sterling Sandhagen fight was one of the first fights I ever watched. It was
Really?
crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. I couldn't believe Sterling. And look, even back then, before I knew how good they both were, I couldn't believe Sterling just disposed of Cory the way he did in like first round by rear naked choke within like a couple minutes. It was unbelievable. So
I will
anyway,
say, Corey's grappling looked really good.
yeah.
He's not really like a known grappler.
Mhm.
We're talking about
Yeah,
the most recent the Song Yadong fight. His grappling looked really good, and that's because he's working with Ryan Hall.
exactly. Yeah, I mean there are there there
I
are
actually
there are
didn't know. I didn't know he was in his corner until I watched the fight. I'm like, ah, that's where he's been. Okay.
yeah there are
What
there
a
are worse fighters to to grapple with. Uh, you know. Uh, many worse fighters to grapple with than Ryan, to learn how to grapple with than Ryan Hall. No, so like I really do think Corey is one of the most well-rounded fighters, not just at bantamweight, but I think in all the lower weight classes,
Oh,
like
easily, yeah.
lightweight, say like featherweight, bantamweight, flyweight. I think he's one of the most well-rounded fighters in that category of divisions. I feel like lightweight, then you get to Charles Oliveira. At that point, then it's a little bit of a different conversation. But we will have plenty to say about Charlie Olives. Also for 281 though. But and for Song, hope he gets well soon. That cut was really nasty, so he's probably going to be out for a while that heals. But he's definitely shown that he belongs. I think you put him against one of the losers of one of these kind of title contender fights, maybe O'Malley.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean,
I
that's
mean,
me assuming O'Malley loses. And look, I hope he loses, but he's so tall. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, bantamweight is always interesting. It's one of my favorite divisions in
it's
the
an
UFC.
exciting weight class, which is rare nowadays.
Exactly. So you know what? Credit where it's due. I'm excited to see it. Um, so yeah, so that was the main event. And so now I'm gonna pivot real quick to focus on kind of a card wide theme, which is that one thing really struck me about this card, which is that it is the bloodiest UFC card I have ever seen. Like I counted it up afterward. I think it was 6 of the 14 fights or 13 fights had significant um, bleeding. Um, like there was this was a violent card. And look, and Song's cut was awful, and I'm like, oh my god, they got to stop this fight after round 4, which to their credit, they finally mercifully did. But that wasn't even the worst cut of the night.
No.
That wasn't even the worst cut of the main card. In fact, so it's time for us to talk about the previous fight, which was Chidi and Njokuani versus Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez, which I spotlighted last week. Look, I got one of my spotlights right this time. I said this fight was going to be fireworks, and this one delivered. This fight was crazy. So basically, Njokuani hits Rodriguez with a flush knee straight between the eyes, like right in that area between your eyes and your nose,
Like the bridge.
like right above the bridge of your nose, like
Yeah.
yeah, and immediately a huge cut opened up on Rodriguez, and we couldn't really see where the cut was because they were moving around. There was a lot of blood,
Yeah,
but
it was hard for me to kind of pinpoint where it was at first, even like when they did the slow-mo, I was still like kind of trying to find it. I was like, "Oh, nope, there it is. I found it."
yeah, no, and it was immediate. Once even when commentary found it, they're like, "Oh my god," it. I'm gonna say it, this is the worst cut I've ever seen in all of my admittedly short time watching MMA. It was
I
that bad.
I'm trying to think if I've seen a worse one. I mean, Joe Stevenson versus BJ Penn back in the day, that was really rough to watch.
The
Um,
classic one that I've heard is Marvin Eastman. I have not seen that cut. I have just heard it's awful.
Josh
And
Thompson versus Tony Ferguson was pretty bad, but that was like kind of superficial.
mm,
It
yeah,
wasn't like, and that was just a lot of blood, but it was like very superficial, not really affecting anything. But
right.
the RoboCop cut,
It was bad,
it
bad,
was
bad, bad, bad.
deep.
Yeah.
I think that's it. It's like it wasn't like bleeding like, it was bleeding a lot, but like it was mainly just deep also. And
But yeah,
oh,
for as much as we're talking about how ridiculously awful this cut was, because let me be clear, this cut was awful. RoboCop lived up to his nickname and basically didn't even react.
yeah,
Like,
he kind of just like shrugged it off. Like
yeah,
he didn't really think too much of it. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'd be crying on the ground.
yeah. No, I think immediately to the Cyborg Santos versus Michael Venom Page fight in Bellator, where he got kneed in the face
Oh,
for
and
his
literally
skull.
caved his
That's
skull
what
in.
he's on the ground holding his head, like kicking his legs. I'm like, that's what I would do after a knee like that. But Rodriguez shrugged it off,
Just
kept going,
even
which
when like the cut man, like after the fight, the Cutman was sending to RoboCop, and they're like kind of like shooting the shit, having a fun time, and RoboCop just sitting there, just kind of talking to the guy, just chilling. I'm like, dude, how do you do this? Like,
It's unbelievable.
tell me
Like,
your ways.
also, and not to like, not only did he just shrug it off like nothing happened, he went on to arguably win the round against Njoku because he knocked Chidi down after the cut, and he dominated the last 2 minutes of the round. I
Yeah,
don't know if I would have scored it for him, but there is an argument you could make to score it for him. And
he's definitely, from what I've noticed, definitely one of the RoboCop's definitely one of the fighters. Like, the more you piece him up, the angrier and better he actually gets,
no, exactly,
which
and
is
like
rare.
it's crazy. Like, and he's one of those guys where like you know every fight he's had in the promotion so far has been a banger. This did not change that perception at all. Like, I'm checking his record right now, but let's see. He fought Julian Marquez, and that was a knock him down, drag him out fight. He beat
That was his last fight, right?
yeah, and he went to a split decision against Armin Petrosian, and then he beat Junyoung Park by KO as well. And he also just killed Dushko Todorovic, basically. No, that's not true. There was a unanimous decision. Sorry, no, but so he's kind of becoming must-watch TV. And so I'll definitely tune in for his fights. But even though he'll probably be on the sidelines for a little while because after a cut like that, whew, gosh.
Yeah, he's
You know
gonna.
what? Respect where it's due. He dragged Chidi into the deepest water he's had to face in the UFC, and he drowned him there.
He
He
also
ended up
landed
finishing.
some nasty grounded pounds too, right?
Yeah, exactly. He ended up finishing him in round two. Because I mean, like, how demoralizing would it be for basically for Chidi to land not just your best shot, but like the best shot that you could possibly land on this guy? Like anybody could possibly land on this guy, and he just shrugged it off like nothing. There's a psychological element to that too, I think.
He just fucking keeps walking through fire. You're just sitting there like, what does it take?
Exactly, and eventually he melted, and Rodriguez won by TKO. So big props to RoboCop, who definitely lived up to his nickname here.
Yeah, RoboCop's he's definitely like. I think the first time I watched him was, I want to say, the his last fight was Marquez,
Marquez, yeah,
and I was a fan. He seems like a fun dude, tough as nails. And then
yep,
just watching this fight again, I'm like, kind of solidifies like, yeah, I'm gonna keep watching him because he's got like almost an old school like style of fighting,
yep,
like almost like a like mid like early 2010s. You're talking like your JDSs, your like Fabricio Verdum style of like chin.
hmm
I mean,
yeah.
before Fabricio
Just
was
being
like
able,
washed up.
right, yeah, just being able to walk through fire and just keep coming like that.
And
It's
just getting
he's a throwback,
stronger, getting stronger seemingly. I
yep,
you don't really see that too often nowadays.
right. Not to mention he looks old enough that he could have fought back then.
I don't understand how he's only 30. I don't understand it. It
He's 30
makes no
going
sense.
on
I
50.
am I am 28, and this man looks like he could be my dad. Like,
it's
holy
it's
crap, man.
it's so funny.
He
No, but
also
like
looks like Barack Obama.
he does look like yeah, no, so you know what, like props to him. Like he's definitely a fun fighter to watch. And he seems pretty down to earth as well.
He
So
seems like
I'll
a
keep an eye
funny guy.
right. Yeah. I think somebody asked him about the Obama comparisons during his interview, and he gave a fun answer for that. I don't remember what he said. He's like, yeah, I mean, I don't mind that comparison. Obama's a good president, or something like that. I don't remember what he said. I mean, he's Brazilian. He doesn't need to know all this stuff. Basically, everything that I said about Bruno Silva a couple weeks back actually is what Gregory Rodriguez actually is. You know. Um, so yeah. Anyways, props to him. So aside from that, on the main card, we had a couple more things worth touching on. Prior to that, we had another very bloody, very close fight between Andre Fili and Bill Algeo. Andre Fili is always fun to watch. He always puts on good fights. He's very technical. He's very exciting. And he's also got a pretty distinctive look. a lot of tattoos. Got the tape over his ears because he's got gauges.
That's why he had a tape over his ears.
Yep, that's why.
I like legitimately like I was wondering if that was the case, but I never really like kind of looked into it. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, so like he's a distinctive looking dude, and then Bill Algeo is this guy. He came up on short notice as a replacement a few fights ago. I don't remember who he fought, but he looked better than I thought he would. So I've been keeping an eye on
He
him.
looked really good.
Yeah, he came in on short notice for this fight too, if I remember right. Basically, like his whole philosophy, from what the commentators were saying and from what I remember, is that he doesn't do camps. He just shows up. Like he basically looks for short notice fights. He's his own coach. Like he's like it's kind of crazy. Um, so it's almost like, and it almost sounds blasphemous to say this, but like he's a little bit like a more boring Tony Ferguson. But that's not saying he's boring. That's just saying Tony is just that out there, you know. And he's definitely not afraid of some blood in his fights as well. So, um, props to him. They put on a great fight. Feely won a close split decision. Um, and you know what? Happy for him. Like another theme, unfortunately, of this card is that some of the winners had really gone through some awful shit recently. Like he mentioned in his interview that I think his wife miscarried halfway through his fight camp, which is
Oh
just
jeez, yeah,
horrendous.
I remember hearing that. It's like I think I tabbed out, so I still had the sound up. I wasn't like watching it. I think I heard that. I was like, oh damn, man, that's
Yeah.
rough to go through during a training camp too. Like you're
No,
already
exactly.
kind of like beating yourself. You're pretty much beating yourself up mercilessly and killing yourself and making a weight cut, and then you have like something that personal happen in your life on top of everything else.
No,
That's
exactly. Yeah.
that's so rough.
Right. So no, like, happy for him he got the win. But yeah, that was rough. And then as well on top of that, one of the other people I'd like to spotlight, I'll talk about him when we get a little further down the card, was Damon Jackson. And his brother passed away, I think 5 days before his fight, which is just gut wrenching, really. And he ended
Oh
up winning,
jeez.
but I'll talk about him in a little bit. But he had a really good showing. Um, so before I skip down to him, I do want to, just to wrap up the main card, we got to talk about Joe Pyfer, because Dana White wants us all to be talking about Joe Pyfer.
Hey, be Joe Pfeiffer.
Joe
If
Pyfer.
you haven't heard, be Joe Pfeiffer.
Did you see that promo that I sent you?
I don't understand. It's like a 12-year-old cut that promo.
It's exactly. And they aired that, and I'm like, wow, that's awful.
It's like, wow, that's brave.
Yeah. Look, okay, so I'll give Piper some credit. He came in, he was expected to starch Alan Amadovsky, and he did, because Amadovsky's terrible. And will almost assuredly be cut. He has had one of the worst UFC runs I've seen from anybody. Um, 4 straight losses. But yeah, like, he came in and he put him away. But honestly, look, he seems like a charismatic dude. He's been through some shit. He talked about in his post fight interview how, coming from being homeless and running away from home to, escape like abuse as a kid. Like, it's a good story. But like, and I'm happy for him. Let me be clear. And it seems like he's, Dana has, kind of tried to support him a little bit. Which, I mean, good for him. I'm glad that Dana seems to have at least a shred of empathy for once. But from a fight perspective, his knockouts were good, I guess. Like, he knocked out 2 guys. I mean, they looked fine, but they both looked worse than him. So as a fighter, I'd really like to see him fight against someone tougher
Fight
before I
someone,
really start
yeah.
asking.
And that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, it's like, yeah, this dude can look amazing if he's fighting very low level competitions. Like anyone will look amazing that way.
Right,
But
exactly. And
until you actually put him in a situation where it gets a little sketchy and a little bit of like adversity, it's not a true show of skill. And I mean,
Exactly.
this is gonna be me talking on my ass because I've never really fought before, besides like one grappling competition, which I got absolutely my ass handed to me. But but I don't think I think it's way too soon to say that this kid's like the next big deal, you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah.
And that's the problem with like that's well, one of the problems with the UFC, among others, that
among many others.
they're consistently trying to find their draw. And I'm like,
Mhm.
you guys got to like work with what you have first.
Yeah, it's
Like
like, you know,
there's
there are
so many other people in your current roster that you can build up,
right.
and you choose not to. Like
But they
Cheeto
definitely have
Vera.
yeah, they definitely have the shiny new toy syndrome with a lot of their guys. Except for then you have then perplexingly you end up with a guy like Jalton Almeida who really is all that, and they barely promote him. They keep sticking him on the prelims. You know,
Because
like
they want some American bred corn fed motherfucker.
yeah, I guess
You
so.
know I'm right too.
No, you're right. No,
And a lot of people are gonna say it's a fucking hot take, but like
it's not just American. They want somebody or either American or in a market that they can in a market that they want to enter, like Darren Till in for England, or you know, um, even to a lesser
they're doing a
extent,
pretty good
like
job with Patty the
Jose
Batty.
in China. Yeah, Patty did. But Patty was already kind of a star in and of itself.
Yeah.
He already had the hype coming in, independent of UFC. Um, so no, so like I don't know, but happy for Joe. Seems like a nice dude.
Yeah, like
Um,
I'm not this isn't me hating him. He has skill. Like I see skill and it's great, but I want to see it put to test.
Exactly. And I can't stress this enough how bad Alan Amadovsky is. He's awful.
Yeah, I looked up his record and looked up some of his recent fights or his other fights, and I wasn't impressed.
No, he's bad, and he's going to get cut basically as soon as it's decent after this. Like
So who would you want to see Joe fight? As like
Joe,
a rising as like a rising
he's a middleweight, right?
I think so, yeah.
Um, hmm, that's a really good question.
Because
Um,
we can say, hey, we want him to fight, you know, at least low level skill, but skill there. But then it's like, all right, then who does he fight then?
right, right. Hmm. Trying to think like somebody who isn't too high of a step up for him. Because like I don't want him to I don't want him to overstep, you know. I want him to fight with somebody who's above contender series level though,
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
Like I don't know. Um my thoughts about the middleweight division are I'm really trying to think of like a prospect for him to fight, but I just can't think of somebody right now. I'm literally trying to like search through UFC's middleweights and their site is broken as shit right now, so
Womp.
um yeah, you know, what else is new? Um,
It's I mean, like
I'll think
again,
I'll think about
like I don't because for some reason I feel like they're gonna have him jump the queue a bit. Which
that.
if they
Mhm.
do, I'm gonna be very angry.
I don't think they're gonna jump him. I think they're gonna try and build him slowly because they don't want him to.
You think the UFC's learned a little bit and try to slow develop somebody now?
He's not a Darren Till talent. Like he's not. He doesn't have that much hype behind him. I don't think. I mean, they're
Okay,
trying
that's
to.
fair.
But he's a mild mannered, you know, a fairly mild mannered dude. So I don't know. I don't see him really jumping way up there. Like, hmm. Man, this site is so bad. Okay, I'll just go with the first person I saw, which I'm not saying he can't fight this guy because he's not in the promotion anymore. But you remember Yuri Alcantara, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, somebody on that level where he's like good, but not like rankings good. You know?
Okay,
Uh,
that's fair.
yeah. Anyways, UFC site is bad.
I really
And
I really threw a curveball at you, didn't I?
hmm?
I really threw a curveball at you, didn't I, with that question?
Yeah, no, hey, look. I'm not always prepared, you know. I
Because it's
always
one of
seem like
those
I know
like
everything. I feel like I say like I know everything about every prelim fighter, but you know, I've got my gaps, you know.
because it's one of the it's like everyone can say he needs to fight skill. It's like, all right, then who does he fight then? Like, because obviously we don't want to be like he needs to fight skill. All right, cool, serve him up, Izzy. It's like that's not realistic at all.
No, he's not gonna fight Izzy.
Yeah,
No,
oh for sure, no.
see like when it's in the rankings, I can kind of look at who's up there and kind of like match make based on that. But there's no, you know, below the rankings, it's very hard to see.
But
Um,
someone like Cody Brundage maybe.
yeah, Cody Brundage.
Actually,
I
that
never.
would be a really good fight, Brundage and Joe. I could see that going decently. I mean,
Yeah, that could
it's
work.
not
That
like
could
one
be
of those fights where like both men are either gonna get starched by another, but it's definitely gonna give some adversity to each other, which is really nice.
right. Okay. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, we
I
could.
mean, I would have to obviously like the matchmakers do their thing or whatever, and it always takes for a long time to figure out who they're gonna fight next. But that'd be a fight I
Exactly.
would want to watch.
Yeah, I'd watch that fight. I mean, look, I haven't seen Brundage, but you keep gassing him up, so he can't be
He's
too
just
bad.
I keep gassing up because he's from the fucking Colorado dudes, and those guys know how to fight.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Like everyone coming out of Colorado knows how to fight.
That's fair.
Looking
Yeah.
at you,
Oh,
Cory Sandhagen. I'm looking
speaking
at
of
you.
speaking of Colorado, like um, people. I saw a comment saying Joe Piper looks a whole lot like a bigger Justin Gaethje, which I think is really funny.
I saw that and I can't unsee it. He's like a
Yeah.
taller, skinnier Justin Gaethje who
Yeah.
can fight smarter.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cody Brundage would be good. Like Wellington Turman, like somebody in that range.
Yeah, yeah.
Even like a Marc Andre Barrio who fought on this card. He looked pretty bad though, so I don't know. But he's like at least established in the UFC, I think. Um, maybe like Jun Young Park, somebody like that. Um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what
Yeah,
comes
for
of
sure.
that. Anyway, you caught me off guard. You got me. I'll give you this. I'll give you this
That's
one.
why I'm here. Gotta keep on your toes.
Yep. No, but so there was that. That was that. And speaking of the Marc Andre Barrio fight, I'll spare a moment for Anthony Hernandez because this is a guy where when he made his debut, he was straight off Contender Series and he looked awful. I'm like, this guy does. He's not UFC level. I got to give him credit. He has really, really improved. Even when he beat, even in his big, not star making, but in his biggest moment in the UFC, when he beat Rodolfo Vieira. I didn't really give him the credit. It was more that I was like, okay, Vieira gassed and he took advantage. But he's slowly been getting better and better. Like he beat Josh Friend, and I don't think Josh Friend is that good, but he won by unanimous decision. And he really dominated Marc Andre Barrio in this fight. So credit where it's due. I think he is he's taken the next step. I will keep more of an eye on him now. I don't think he's not like on my must watch list yet, but he
But
controlled Barrio.
if his name pops up, it'd be like, yeah, I'll tune in.
Exactly. So credit where it's due. Oh, I know why I watched him and I thought he's bunk. It's because Kevin Holland KO'd him in 40 seconds. That's why.
Womp.
So that would explain. But Kevin Holland is, of course, very good. So, anyways, so that's that. Now I want to talk about Damon Jackson a little bit. This was the fight. This is one of the fights that I gassed up last week. Damon Jackson versus Pat Sabatini, and I thought this was going to be a really competitive fight. And I already mentioned Damon Jackson came into the fight with a heavy heart. He was fighting for his brother.
Yeah, this is one
And
of the fights that I wasn't able to find a stream for, unfortunately. So
dang, um,
yeah, yeah.
but like, yeah, really, it was a short fight. It ended in about a minute.
Oh
Um,
shit.
Yeah. Jackson landed a front kick right to the face of Sabatini, who is one of the better grapplers as well in the lower divisions.
Is this
Uh,
year just the year of front kicks? Was that what's happening now?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, like we had it with Abus Magomedov, we had it with Michael Chandler on Tony Ferguson. You know,
Who else? There's another
Marlon Chito Vera on Frankie Edgar. You
Vera
know,
on Dominic. No, not Dominic Cruz. That wasn't a head kick. That
yeah,
wasn't a front kick. It was a head kick. It
that
was a
was
front kick.
exactly, yeah. No, but yeah,
Disgusting
it's
though.
been a good year for front kicks.
It's been a
Ma
good year. Yes, the front kicks are ripe this season.
Yes. Yeah, no, but, credit where it's due, like, Jackson, who I think is borderline ranking worthy, like, even going into this fight, I thought he was knocking on the door of the rankings. He disposed of Sabatini in about a minute, and he looked fantastic. This is the best I've seen him look in the UFC. And, it was also a feel-good moment. He really deserved the win after, all the crap he's gone through. He's like right after the fight,
Oh yeah, for
broke down.
sure.
His family was there, and it was a good moment. But like realistically, I maintain that I think he should be in the rankings. I think he's better than Alex Caceres for that number 15th ranking, and I like Alex Caceres, so I say give him that ranking because he He and Sabatini were two of the better prospects in featherweight, and he demolished Sabatini. So I want to gas him up. He's definitely one of those guys where, I want to keep an eye on him. And really, like, I think the only loss I think I said this last week. I think one of his only losses since he signed back with the UFC was being the victim of Ilia Topuria, basically, who is ridiculous. You know, yeah, that's the only loss he's had since he re-signed with the promotion was to Ilia Topuria.
Toria's no
And,
slouch, man. That's
no,
that's a
Topuria
fair. Like if you lose to him, that's fair. Like
Topuria is the truth. I'm so high on him. So like, yeah. So I'd like to see him get that number 15 ranking, and maybe fight. I don't know, Danny Ige.
ooh, I like
I think
Ige too.
I like Ige, but he's been struggling.
It's
Uh,
been kind of a rough couple of fights for him, if I remember correctly.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think he's got to defend his ranking, and Yusuf is already fighting somebody soon. Barboza's fighting Topuria. That's 13 and 14. That gives us number 15, and like I said, I think Jackson should be number 15. So I'd like to see that fight. We'll see if they listen to me. Which notable fight to briefly interrupt in the featherweight division that got made was Bryce Mitchell at number 9 versus Movsar Evloev at number 10.
that's
I
gonna be a
think
sleeper hit.
well, it could be a sleeper in two ways. It could be a really tense grappling match because both of them have very good wrestling or really good grappling because Mitchell's a jiu-jitsu guy. And that could end up boring if one of them turns out to be able to dominate the other. But I think it's going to be really competitive. This isn't the typical grappler versus grappler turning into a striking match. I don't think Mitchell's going to strike with him no matter what because Evloev is a better striker than him. So I'm interested to see how that turns out. So figured I would slip that in there. Actually, there was also one other event, one other big featherweight fight that got announced. Wasn't there?
Is
Arnold
there?
didn't Arnold Allen get a fight announced?
Oh, yeah, it was Arnold. Oh god, this is gonna bother me. I
Was
was
it
literally
Calvin
just talking.
Kattar?
Yeah.
Yeah, Calvin Kattar
Um,
versus that's 5 versus 6.
I we can just talk about this for a second. I really like Arnold Allen,
Mhm.
but
He's
going
on a long win streak. He's undefeated in the UFC as well, and like
and they're not hyping him up super crazy like I thought they would, and I'm really happy about that.
they seem like they're bringing him up here. They're bringing him up slowly. I think he's had trouble getting fights. I think that's part of it because he was in Britain during COVID, and people don't want to fight him because he doesn't have name value and he's on a tear. So I think this is the big test. This is his Giga Chikadze prove it moment because
I mean,
Calvin Kattar has watched
he's got
prospects.
wins over Gilbert Melendez, Sodiq Yusuff, and Dan Hooker.
Yeah,
I mean, say what you want about Dan Hooker. At one point, he was a killer. I don't know what's going on with Dan, but
I think the book is out on him. I think that's what's going on. Also,
yeah.
Dan Hooker never should have been at featherweight.
Oh God, no. I have
Yeah,
no idea why I tried to do that.
yeah.
But
Um,
again, like his performance against Dan Hooker was fantastic.
yeah, exactly.
Did you watch that one?
I don't think I did. I think I was.
No, because that was the first London card.
Yeah, then I think I was gone then.
Yeah, that
So,
was Volkov and Aspinall. That was good. That was a good card.
yeah. Oh no, maybe I did watch that then.
I
I
don't
don't
even
know.
think we knew each other then, or did we?
That was right after. Was that right after 272 or 271? Whichever one we met at. This is because it was March. I think this is like
It was
the
like
week.
two fights. It was like two fights after 272 because the fight after 272 was Santos and Ankalaev,
Right.
and then
Um.
Volkov Aspinall. So like
Oh,
we
you know
may have
what?
like
I think we knew each other, but of course not that well yet. And also, I think that was when I was at TFF. So
oh
maybe
yeah, that could do it.
that's why I missed it. So yep.
um
Anyway,
no, but I'm excited for
reminder
Brandon
that I am
Allen.
a furry.
Wait,
In
what?
case you all forgot. No, but
No, I think the Brendan Allen Cater fight's gonna be fun. Those are two guys that can definitely bring it.
Cater's allergic to bad fights. Dude will bang with anyone.
And Brendan
Um,
Allen just has high volume.
exactly, yeah. Um, so yeah. Anyway, I got sidetracked. I want to put a couple more brief spotlights out there. I'll keep them brief, I promise. Loma Lookboonmee, who of course I gassed up last week, won her decision against Denise Gomes. And really, you know what? She impressed me because this was a fight that was a style that I didn't think she could win, which is namely that this was a grappling fight. She still shows the need to improve a little bit, but she won a grappling fight against somebody who wasn't a total scrub. And as somebody who came in as purely a Muay Thai fighter and who in her last fight basically got wrestled to death, that shows an evolution for her from me, or from her for me rather. And I think that's going to bode well for her. I think she's still too undersized to really get anywhere in strawweight though. Which is why I keep saying if UFC ever opens up an atomweight division, she will kill everyone there. I really do think if they ever do atomweight, she will be a contender there. But she's just very small. So I don't know, but she's still going to be fun to watch. She has some nasty elbows, some of the nastiest elbows in the whole promotion. I would argue because they don't teach Muay Thai elbows out west the way they do out in Thailand. It's just not the same. It's so props to her. She did great. And then Javid Basharat, who I should have spent more time on last week, had a really fun fight with Tony Gravely, where it looked like he was going to get kind of overwhelmed in the first round, but he was able to pace himself, and he really started to pull away in the last couple rounds. Bonus points because his nickname is the Snow Leopard, and of course, I definitely did the Leonardo DiCaprio point, like furry moment there.
Furry moment.
Yeah,
Certified furry moment.
yeah. So yeah, no, credit to him where it's due. I guess Jillian Robertson also had a really impressive submission because she basically was getting beat up by Maria Agapova, who's way bigger than her, um, and still got the submission in the end.
It was a
Um,
tight rear naked choke.
yeah, she can like her whole thing is she will grapple you, she will submit you, try and stop her. You know, she has one game plan, but unlike most fighters with one game plan, she does it. It works for
He
them.
actively goes for it.
She goes there and she gets it. Like a lot of the time, like Yulia Stolyarenko is another women's fighter, and she's strawweight. She's the armbar queen. She has one move, which is the armbar. If she gets it, she wins. If she doesn't get it, she loses badly. So the book is out on her, and a lot of the time, she loses because she can't. She's not skilled enough to do that. Jillian Robertson is skilled enough to make her one game plan work, which is impressive because I can't believe she keeps getting away with it. So yeah, good for her. So that wraps up everybody I really wanted to talk about for the card on Saturday. There's a couple of folks that I really want to poke at and be like, come on, you should know better. Namely Daniel Zellhuber, who I gassed up last week, sight unseen, pretty much, because he was a young, undefeated prospect coming off of Contender Series. I'm like, he should wash this dude. Trey Ogden isn't very good, but he was so tense. He was a -360 favorite, and he lost. He was the biggest favorite on the
Ooh.
prelims and lost because he did nothing. He was so tentative. And Trey Ogden, credit where it's due, he fought the perfect fight to beat him. He was just active enough to really take control. And Zellhuber was clearly better, like more talented, but he just did not pull the trigger. And I don't know. The hype is off for him for me. I'm not gonna pay attention to him anymore until he does something to impress me. He's gone Nasrat mode for me.
Oh, that's
So
rough.
so come back when you've impressed me. Same thing with Tanner Bozer. He looked awful and did a similar thing against Rodrigo Nascimento, who is not very good. I'm stressing this. He's not very good, and Tanner Bozer did not
There's a
look
lot of
great.
hype behind Bozer too.
There was, and then
There's
he
a
kept
lot of hype
losing.
behind him.
Yeah. I was one of those people. I thought he was. I
He's
thought he
in
was
that
the answer.
stable of like potential good Canadian fighters.
Exactly. But the thing is, every time we have a potential good Canadian fighter, the universe reminds us that Canadian fighters aren't good, except for GSP. Charles Jourdain, he went that way. Marc-Andre Barrios got pastured on this card. We had Hakeem Dawodu.
The only like not
Um,
good, but the only Canadian fighter I can think of that's like was close to being really really good is what like Rory McDonald.
Misha Serkinov had a
Yeah,
stretch in the middle of the light heavyweight.
I don't know
Gavin Tucker had a fight
anyone
behind
who
him, and then
agrees
he
to
got
go
starched by Ige.
anyone who agrees to go 2 fights with Robbie Lawler is automatically good in my book
True. Yeah.
because he
So I
wants
mean,
that smoke.
exactly. Yeah. All props to Rory McDonald. He vacated his soul for the sport. Basically, we'll have an episode where we talk about classic fights. And
We should have a
that will
next
be
episode.
that was actually one of the that was one of the first fights I ever watched because before I started watching MMA, sometimes I'd watch like highlights or like sometimes UFC would put up like the free fights. Um, and that was one of the ones where I happened to catch an upload of that free fight, and I'm like, holy crap, this fight was insane.
A lot of people
Uh,
actually misremember that fight for being a complete banger. It was actually a really big snooze fest for the first like 2 or 3 rounds.
it's just everyone remembers round four
Everyone
and
knows
stared at after round
exactly,
four.
yeah. Really, after that's great, but like the first like 3 rounds is just like really giant snooze fest.
I mean, I thought it was decent, and I wasn't even a fan at the time, but no, it was round four and beyond that really solidified that. But
But yeah,
we'll talk
we
about
definitely
this.
got to do an episode where it's just me nerding out over pride fights and old UFC because
We'll we'll do
that's my
that. We'll
shit.
definitely do that episode. Yeah, I'll have to brush up a little bit on my history before then, but yeah. Um, so yeah, no, and then one more note on this card. Trevin Giles versus Louis Kosi is one of the worst fights I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It
remember you
was
texted me about that? You're like, I don't want to watch this fight anymore.
no, I'm so done with this fight. Like both of them did nothing. Giles won in a close but really just uninspiring decision against basically a contender series prospect with one KO in the UFC. Like, look, it was a weird matchup. The fight sucked, and I came away from it not caring about either fighter. Um, I just don't want to see them on my screen anymore. And Trevin Giles, in the past, I thought he was pretty good, or at least decent. I just don't care anymore. I don't want him on my screen anymore. The Kosi brothers are a gimmick. Look, I'm a twin, and I'm happy for them. That they both fought on Contender Series on the same day. They both got contracts, but they feel like a gimmick, and this seemed to solidify that. He
I'm just
didn't
gonna
look
start
great.
sending pictures of the Kosi brothers to you, just to piss you off.
They don't piss me off. It's just like, come on. They're just not that like I expected better, you know. But then again, like with the way that they kind of just take half the contender series winners these days, I really shouldn't be expecting that much better. Anyways, that's I think that's all for the card. I mean,
Yeah,
um,
not a bad card, not a good card. It was a decent fight night.
interesting card, notably violent, you know.
Just notably violent.
Yeah. So, had its good stories, had
I'm
some
telling you,
good
man.
fights.
I keep saying it. Cory Sandhagen is just violence personified.
He is, and
Dude, I
like,
really want to see him fight Cheeto Vera now. I think that would be a disgusting fight.
I think that would be really good. I think they're both very technical and very well rounded.
They're just
I'd
both
like to see that.
game. Like they
Yeah.
both want that smoke. And actually,
Right.
I just read that Cheeto he verbally accepts.
Ooh, okay, okay. All right.
So I guess we just
I'm
gotta
okay
wait
with
for
that.
Jan and what would we say Jan and
Jon and O'Malley.
Mally.
Yeah. Um, we'll see how it goes. Um, so before we get into some of our other topics, we had some really big news. Really big news about Jose Aldo. And I'll let you take this away because you know him better than I do.
Uh you know how like if you watched or listened to the show and almost every description I say that I am lamenting the fact that all of my heroes are either dying or retiring.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Jose Aldo, probably a legend at this point. Announced his retirement. He actually had one fight left on his contract, and the UFC just amicably let him go, which I'm fine with. But I think I told you earlier. I'm like, I'm just getting to the point where everyone that I grew up with, this is done.
Yeah. And look, I mean, look, I've seen a couple Aldo fights, and look, I gotta give him credit. He's walking away. He's retiring from the sport before the sport retires him, and not enough
Yeah,
MMA fighters
I
do
I,
that.
I can't be mad at that.
Mhm.
This is such a vicious sport, and we talked about it last week with Tony Ferguson. I mean, like, the longer you're in this sport, and you're obviously just not able to. I'm not saying he isn't able to, but I mean, this is a sport where the young feed on the old in a very violent fashion. And just for sake of longevity, like, I'm glad that he decided to just kinda call it quits for now. Yeah, I
Right.
think there's something about him saying he's gonna go to boxing, which I don't
Wait, what?
yeah, there's something there's a rumor he's gonna go to boxing. I don't know if that's true or not.
I mean, if he does, I mean, good on. I mean, hopefully he gets the bag and doesn't get starched. I mean, I'll be rooting for him.
Yeah,
But
but I
yeah,
mean,
I get.
it's the dude has I mean, he's had a crazy career.
Yeah, and he really is. He's one of the greats. I mean, look, I was going to ask you, um, where does he fall in the greatest of all time discussion? Because he's
Uh,
in the discussion, but where does he fall?
he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore.
Really, you think
See
definitely on the Mount Rushmore?
see, the problem with this, I used to be kind of all game about the greatest of all time, like, conversations, but, like, I the more I read into it and the more I just start thinking about it, I'm like, I just wanna appreciate a fighter for being them. I don't like the whole I've really fallen out of the whole greatest of all time because I think everyone's great in their own aspects. But, I mean, it's just that it's at a certain point, it becomes kind of like comparing apples to oranges.
You're right. Yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
but I think he's on my Mount Rushmore.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean,
I mean, he's on like a
is
15 fight like win streak,
here's a
like a
better
16,
question
15 fight win streak.
to make this less apples to oranges. Where does he fall for featherweight greatest of all time? Because that's where he
Ah,
was before he went down to bantamweight recently. Is he the greatest? I mean, who's the contenders? Like
I
Holloway,
can't.
Volkanovski?
Yeah, I mean, Holloway and Volkanovski would probably be the only contenders I can think of at the moment.
So it's got to be him then, right? Just on
Yeah,
longevity.
I mean,
Audio.
he's had like 9, 10 like featherweight defenses.
Mm,
Five,
yeah,
6, 7, 8, 9, 9 defenses, and then he lost it to Connor,
right.
which I don't I don't ever want to talk about that fight. I felt bad for him.
I will not. I won't make you talk about that fight.
Okay, I'm talking about it.
All right, we're talking about it. We're talking about it. All right, let's do this.
The man went on like a 4 or 5 month media blitz with Connor to sell this fight because this is like when Connor's trying to do the double champ shit. Goes on like a several month media blitz around the world, essentially getting verbally assaulted by Connor the entire time on every stop of the tour.
Mhm.
Gets injured, has to postpone the fight, gets healthy again. They decide to do another media blitz
Oh Lord.
for like another 4 months or whatever while they're in training camp and shit. Again, getting verbally assaulted by Conor McGregor, and then he gets starched in 13 seconds.
I mean, the real injustice of it for me is that he never got his rematch.
I don't think he wanted that rematch.
Really?
Dude, I mean, Conor emotionally dismantled Jose Aldo.
All right, I
If you
guess
ever
that's fair.
if you watch watch like his WEC fights or even like his UFC fights before the Conor fight and then watch the Conor fight. It is so out of character the way Aldo comes rushing in. Aldo
Yeah,
usually hangs on the outside, circles around, picks at his opponents, but he fucking bull rushed Conor. It
yeah.
was yeah. But that aside, like he Jose's done so many good things for the sport. I mean,
Yeah, he's been a classy dude, a great ambassador. Like,
he's never like outright talk smack to anybody. I mean, at least like as the instigator.
No, exactly. He's always seemed to be pretty respectful. He's your classic rags to riches, came out of nowhere sort of story as well.
Oh, like hardcore came out of nowhere. Like lived at the gym because he had nowhere else to go
Right.
and things like
I
that. I mean,
I think one of the most wholesome MMA videos I've seen is that video that goes around every time people talk about him, of him picking out his first suit.
oh,
Uh,
dude, that's so wholesome.
he was so excited. He'd never worn a suit before. He was just going around the store laughing. You know, it's like
I
really
just
shows where he came from.
I
On
just
that.
love his celebrations because it's always just him jump, especially like when it's a home crowd. Dude,
Yeah.
when he won the belt and then jumped into like the crowd, they were mobbing him and just everyone was going nuts. It was so
Right.
awesome.
Right. Exactly. So he's been around for so many moments like that you got to give him props for what he's done for the sport. So it's while it sucks to see another legend retire, at least he's doing it more or less on his terms. Here, I mean, he did lose his last fight to Marab, but he was competitive in it. He was competitive in that fight, and he definitely wasn't getting put out of the game. This isn't
No,
the time. Yeah,
he wasn't, but like I'm looking at his last several fights. I'm like, man, these are like some high level guys. His last several fights was Chito Vera, Pedro Munoz, Rob Font. Granted, he beat all those guys, but like
yeah,
that's the level of competition that they're at now, and he's
yeah,
arguably aging.
yeah.
And it's only like we said with Tony Ferguson, it's only gonna get worse.
You're right. I mean, like, even in the Jan versus Aldo fight, which was the first time I ever saw Aldo, I'm like, man, is Aldo a little washed? And then he came in and he won 4 straight
He
fights.
did a great job during that fight.
He fought his way almost back into the title picture. So you know what? And this isn't like an Alistair Overeem like one last run, long shot
Oh
sort of thing.
yeah, no.
He was knocking on the door, you know. Um, so look, I got to get like all respect to him. Um, so the
If you ever get a chance, watch the Jose Aldo Uriah Faber fight from WEC.
is that the one where he kicks the shit out of his legs?
He absolutely kicks the shit out of his legs, and
I've
it's
heard that. I
beautiful.
haven't seen it. I've heard it's absolutely gnarly.
It is
Uh,
beautiful. That's what I love about Jose Aldo. He loves those leg kicks, and he knows where to place them and when to place them. He's such a
dude,
technical and high level fighter.
dude did leg kick. He did the leg kicks before they were the meta.
Before they were even like cool or known, I was like, oh, we can do this shit now. All right, cool.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no credit where it's due. Um, yeah,
It's so hard for me to like watch this sport now. I'm like, man, I
every single episode, Uriah laments the changing of the guard. You know.
it's like one of those like I have to I have to accept it,
Mm,
but I'm such a nostalgic person that it's like it's really hard for me to watch it. Like the Tony Ferguson Chandler fight, I was almost crying.
and yeah, that was that was
And
that was a
you were there watching with me. I was almost crying.
that was a toughie. Yeah.
And the that's when it hit me. I'm like, man, the time is up. The time is getting soon.
The hits may keep coming as well. The next UFC card has Cody Garbrandt on it.
I could really care less about Cody
Okay,
Garbrandt.
all right. Then in that case, who cares? I mean, Alexi Olenek's on there. But
uh,
no, like, fucking no. So you might get a break next week then, because there's
I hope
nobody,
so. I can't keep doing
nobody.
this shit every week.
Yeah, there's no beloved old legends. Um, I mean, again, if you don't care about Cody Garbrandt, then yeah, there's nobody real. I mean,
No,
Francisco Trinaldo's on the card, but he's old as shit and keeps winning. So
I don't not care about Cody Garbrandt, but I could really care less about Cody Garbrandt.
that's fair. That's fair.
I don't
Um,
hate him per se. I just don't like him.
I I with Cody Garbrandt, the thing I always think about is the trash talk in the lead up to his fight against Dominic Cruz, where he just got just undressed by Dominic Cruz. We got to do an episode about trash talkers and talk about Dom Cruz and his ridiculous trash talk. Because he's like there's the flashy trash talkers like Connor, like Nate, Dom is just mean.
Because he's like, it's not that it's because he puts the facts out, and nobody wants to hear straight facts.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear that. They want someone to be like extravagant and flashy. They don't want the truth being thrown at them.
You know, like Cruz just surgically dismantles whoever he's trash talking.
Dude,
It's which is
when he
the Dillashaw
trash talk
one is
Dylan sounds like Dylan Shaw.
yeah. I'll go back and watch that interview sometimes because I just think it's so funny. He's like
Something because
Dillashaw's like, I'm done talking to you. I'm not talking anymore. He's like, you can't be done with me.
you're
You're right
still
here.
here.
Let's
You're
talk.
still here. It's like, damn, Dom, why you gotta do him like that, homie?
Yeah. So no, like, yeah.
But that's because Dom, like with Aldo, like they're from a different time period. Like
No, you're right.
The WEC was no fucking joke. Same with like
Right.
Strikeforce. Strikeforce and WEC were just gritty.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
like nasty and gritty, and I think that's how like Aldo just has this longevity. It has like this resilience because like he fought killers.
He fought killers forever.
He
So,
fought
yeah.
like they kept throwing him killers because he was so dominant.
And he just kept killing them. So yeah, no, like, yeah. So I mean, I'll take
We
your
got
word on
like
it.
we got like Chad Mendez, Frankie Edgar, Mark Hominick. Like, come on.
Right. Yeah. Not to mention everyone he fought in the UFC as well. So yeah. So no, yeah.
Thank
Sad
you,
to see him
Jose.
go, but happy that he is happy as he's going out on his terms.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you for everything. Honestly, thank you for everything he's done for the sport.
Yeah.
Because
For sure.
he made small guys cool.
Yeah. I mean, Uriah Faber started that, and then he basically took it from him and ran.
Just ran with it.
Because he was untouchable. But yeah. Anyways,
Man.
I don't have a good transition in mind to our next topic because here's the thing.
There's not really much transition to it.
Yeah, here's the thing. We don't have a card next week to talk about. We have an off week. And unlike our last off week, we don't have a one championship event to save us.
We have a Bellator.
Yeah, Bellator has an event. But, I mean, hey, Yoel Romero's fighting.
I honestly just may watch the highlights of that fight because I could really care less, but the highlights are going to be fun.
I think the highlights will probably be the whole fight.
I was just thinking that too. I'm like, oh, the highlights. You mean the whole fight? Yeah.
No disrespect to Melvin Manhoef, who that's somebody you would know more about than me. I've never seen him fight, but apparently he was really good back in the day.
The epitome of like Dutch kickboxing. So I really need to know.
Right. He was good in the past, but he's very old now, and he's been talking about retirement. And Yoel Romero, despite being like 79 or however old he is,
he's only like 47.
He's like 45 or something. And he's still just like a
45.
A rock golem, the same as he's always been. Like he's going to eviscerate this man. So like I don't know if that's what's on tap for us, especially because it's on Friday afternoon.
I'll still be at work, and I could
Exactly.
I do have like a flex work day I could take, or flex day off I could take, but I really don't want
to.
But I'm not using it to watch a Bellator fight.
Exactly. No, like look, Bellator isn't all bad, but
I can think of 10 million other things I can do with a flex day off.
Exactly. Like if this is the best they can come up with for a UFC off week event, which is when they draw a lot of viewers. The only other Bellator event I watched was on a similar UFC off week. I don't know. It's not a good look. I don't know. So I guess Benson Henderson's fighting on the card as well, and he was a former UFC champ, but he's also been out of the UFC for some time, right? So
I'm sure he's getting paid better at Bellator.
I mean, yeah. So yeah. Anyways, so with that in mind, we have more time to talk about some silly topics. We don't have to do a preview segment. We'll have a double preview next week actually, because not only is one championship coming back a week too late to save us from this hell, we have another UFC card to talk about. We have it's a fine card. It's Mackenzie Dern versus Yan Xiaonan. But there's other fights that are on there that are pretty decent.
And we can definitely talk about that next week.
Exactly. We'll have plenty of time plenty of time next week because we don't have a recap to do. Other than, I mean, I guess we'll put an update on how quickly Yoel Romero destroys Melvin Manhoef.
You want to take a quick silly little bet on that?
What? you want? Let's see it. Like, okay,
To
you want
see
to make
how
predictions on it?
yeah we predict how long Melvin actually lasts in the octagon.
I give him 2 minutes.
2?
I give him 2 minutes. Oh wow, you're gonna say it's quicker than that?
No, I was gonna say a little longer.
Okay.
Depending on how, depending on what Yoel does, because like Yoel has a couple of, he's very multifaceted.
Yeah,
He's
he's also a low volume guy though.
he's a god tier wrestler. Honestly, like he's a crazy wrestler.
Cuban Olympic wrestler, like
Silver
that's
medalist in the Olympics.
yeah.
So if the fight gets to the ground, if he blitzes him, I'd say about like 45 seconds to a minute.
Oh boy.
Uh,
Oh boy.
if he decides to stand and bang with Melvin, which I doubt he's gonna do, I give him like 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I give him
Before
between
he
2 and
absolutely caves in his skull.
This is ending in a knockout though.
Yeah, someone is getting slapped, and that person's probably gonna be Melvin.
Probably.
But who knows? The crazier shit's happen, man.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I might have time to watch that fight, so I'll let you know how it goes if I do. If I can figure out where the heck to watch Bellator. So anyway, so that's that. So I don't really have a transition to our next topic. Actually,
We're talking about furry shit. That's what we're gonna be talking
So we're
about.
coming back to the furry shit. You know what? To make this a topical transition, Yuri, what do you think Yoel Romero's persona would be?
Oh god, I don't know. Fucking ox.
I was thinking like a turtle or something.
A turtle. Okay. Well, actually, if you watch the Izzy fight, that's actually kind of fair. But
Or maybe like one of those really big iguanas. Or like a Komodo dragon, something like that. No.
like he's from Cuba. Is that why?
No, Komodo dragons aren't from Cuba.
No, but
They're
turtles
from,
are though. them big tortoises
okay.
are.
No, those are from the Galapagos.
No, they have like they're like giant like.
Oh, they have them in Cuba too. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like.
No, I think like a big like ox. The
Actually,
dude's built like a brick shit house.
Crocodile could work because they're hard on the surface, and also they can quote unquote wrestle. They do the whole death roll thing.
False. Jacques Ray already has a title.
You're right.
It's literally his name.
I can't take that away from Jacques Ray. That's the thing. There's a lot of UFC fighters whose nicknames are just like an animal. Like Khamzat Chimaev. His nickname is Boris, which means wolf.
It's so fucking cool. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah. So like, I mean, we're biased though. Come on.
Yeah, I'm just slightly biased. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
Even on the previous card, Javed Basharat, his nickname is the Snow Leopard, which of course made me think of one of our friends that we both know.
We need to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, we should.
We need to get him on the podcast.
But I kept thinking like, I guess our friend can't take that nickname if he ever goes pro now. So so we had an idea here. We were gonna go through some of the high profile fighters, and kind of decide.
Let me bring up the rankings and shit so I can get
You want to start with heavyweight, or you want to start with flyweight?
Oh, let's go top to bottom. So let's go heavyweight first.
Okay.
Who we got? We got
Ngannou.
Ngannou. Oh good god, man.
Can Francis just be like the Terminator or something?
It's just a robot.
I mean, like, that's a toughie. I almost want to I was gonna say hippo because hippos are low key terrifying, but Francis is high.
What do you mean low key terrifying? They account for most of the deaths in the Serengeti.
Okay, true, but like
they're
also
low key anything. They're terrifying as it is.
Also, don't look terrifying. They're just kind of like, I would say like somebody like Derek Lewis would be a hippo. Like you see that, right? I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
You're gonna look at me and tell me I'm wrong?
Yeah, no, exactly.
No. Derek Lewis is definitely a hippo.
Yeah. So no, I feel like
do that in the most respectful way.
Yeah, I think Ngannou's got to be like a lion or something.
Yeah, I mean, or like a fucking wildebeest.
Maybe. Yeah,
Ooh, that'd be actually really good.
that'd be good. They are fierce. They will kick the shit out of you.
They will absolutely kick the big shit out of you.
Yeah, but he's not much of a kick anyway. Um, let's not spend too much time on him. But no, like something large and imposing and terrifying for sure.
Insert large and imposing animal here.
Yes, exactly. Um,
So we kind of made a rule. It's like we're trying to do like the champion and then maybe like one or two runner up or contenders.
yeah,
That being said, Stipe Miocic.
Stipe Miocic. Hmm.
I was gonna say Dalmatian because of the fire dog thing.
Oh, that's so cliche. We
So
can't. We can't.
it's too on the nose.
It's too easy. Um, hmm.
What animal is very unintelligible and really hard to pay attention
I
to?
mean, I feel like a German Shepherd wouldn't be too far off though, because like they got that gruff
He's
bark.
he's goofy enough to be a German Shepherd.
Yeah, but they're
Stipe
also gruff and no nonsense. So
Stipe is like low key funny, but he's also terrifying. So I guess that actually works out for him.
he would be funnier if I could understand a word that he said.
It's really funny when they give him captions
No,
because he's
he's
like the most
literally
American dude out there, but you still can't understand
he's
it.
from Cleveland and they give him subtitles. It's not even like he has a Croatian accent either. He has a Midwestern accent. He's impossible to understand. He's harder to understand than Nate Diaz. No, so
What if it's like as a post fight octagon? I think it was when he won the belt. I'm sitting there, I'm like, it's like you're trying to speak to me. I know it. He could have like the most inspiring thing to say, and I just nod my head and smile.
Yep, that's Stipe, all right. I don't know what he said, but that's
Just Stipe
Stipe. All
being
right.
Stipe.
Yep, exactly. Um, one more I think that would be fun to think about. Aside from Sergey Spivak, because his nickname is the Polar Bear
Yeah,
already.
still on nose. Yeah.
That's too easy. I was going to say Tai Tuivasa.
Ooh.
What would Tai Tuivasa be? The kangaroo? It's too easy. He's Australian.
No, Robert Whitaker's a kangaroo. What are you talking about?
You're right. You're right. Um,
Because he'll punch the fuck out of you.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, but Tai Tuivasa, that's a good one. I mean, uh, was there a big imposing animal in Australia?
I mean, there's a lot of them.
Tasmanian devil, but they're tiny.
Yeah, they're small.
But like,
Um,
he doesn't even have like the personality of a Tasmanian devil.
he strikes
Or-
me as like, what's a species that furries usually typecast as a frat bro? You know, like a bull or something. But like
yeah,
furry sense,
like a goat or something.
maybe. Anyway, Tai Tuivasa he is goated. So yeah.
Tai Tuivasa persona, just a frat bro. That's just a persona, just a frat bro.
Yeah. Here's a fun one. Looking at Yuri, I get Crane vibes from him. Maybe because he's such a weeb.
I was actually thinking that too.
Really? Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not me then. Okay. Yeah, Crane. I think that's a good one.
Glover Teixeira, Capybara, because he just really doesn't care. He just kind of vibes the entire time.
No. Teixeira's a cockroach because every time you think he's dead, he kills you. Okay, maybe not like.
That's like the most backhanded comment ever.
No, look. It's not a Glover Teixeira fight until he dies at least once. He has 2 health bars. When he dies, when he gets killed, he unlocks his final form.
He's that fucking wolf from Dark Souls. He just doesn't fucking die.
Yep. One more that I am staring at the rankings, I think that popped out to me would be Anthony Smith being like a pit bull or something.
What did our friend say? He's a staffy.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, those dogs are kind of mean mugging the entire time.
Let me see this stuff. Yeah, I can see that.
Bull Terrier. They mean mug, but they're also kind of derpy and cute and like really nice. Which is kind of like a really good like summation of Anthony Smith.
Yeah. I think that's fair, yeah.
He's just kind of ugly, but kind of vicious too.
Yeah. Wow, also, while I'm looking at the rankings, I'm really surprised. You know who they just added at number 15 to the rankings at light heavy? Azamat Mirzakhanov.
Where the fuck did he come from?
I mean, like he had two KOs, I think, in a row coming off Contender Series, but like
Who'd
to
he?
go all the
Who?
way to 50, he beat Devin Clark and he beat Toph and Chukwi, both by KO. But that seems like a really big jump up the rankings. Like I could swear there's somebody who'd, you know, be in the rankings ahead of him, but I don't know. Light heavy's a little bit weak, so I don't know.
It's an interesting division at the moment.
Yeah. Uh,
Charlie Olives. What would he be?
we skipping to Charlie Ellis? Okay.
This is the first time I kind of saw the moment.
No, that's fair. Hmm. What's
For me,
like?
he's like a honey badger.
I think Michael Chandler would be a honey badger.
Really?
I think because Oliveira is too lanky to be a honey badger. Chandler's very stocky.
That's
You
fair. I can
know,
see that.
like I feel like it fits his build better. So Oliveira I see as something lankier. Like not like a monkey, but like or you know what? No,
Honestly, like a
we're
capuchin
overthinking it.
monkey.
We're overthinking it. He'd be some sort of snake because he'll choke you out in like 1,000 different
Oh,
ways.
true. Yeah. Fucking scalies.
Yeah, he'd be a
Fucking scalies. Jesus.
he'd be like a boa constrictor or something.
Oh, I can
I'm
see
not.
that. I can definitely see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. All right. While we're on, let's keep going on lightweight. For
What?
now, Islam
Poirier.
Makhachev. Um,
Oh,
just
Islam.
I
Yeah.
don't mind coming up.
I don't know. A fucking bear.
He's the one I get like a Wolverine vibe from him a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because
I can see that actually.
kind of smaller, but very fierce.
But we'll fuck you up.
Yeah, exactly. So, um, just for fun, while we're here, Conor McGregor. Because I mean, if we're passing by, we might as well talk about him.
How's Conor McGregor a higher ranking of 21st? Anywho,
Conor McGregor's got to be some sort of like noisy shit slinging monkey, right? I don't know.
tell us how you really feel, Pavel.
I mean, look. I mean, yeah. I mean, he gets on my nerves. But no, I mean, like that feels like look, monkeys. They scream a lot and they fight for territory. You know, like
They're insufferable.
he definitely slings a lot of shit, including dollies at buses. Like I don't
Again,
know.
very insufferable.
He has a gorilla tattooed on his chest, which is close enough. You know,
The
like
bold tattoo strat.
yeah. Speaking, there's so many gorilla nicknames in the UFC.
The killer gorilla, the vanilla gorilla, which is the worst nickname of all time, in my
Just
opinion.
the gorilla.
Just-
Jason the vanilla gorilla went awful, awful, awful.
Who's just the gorilla? Is that Darren Till?
That's Darren Till, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, let's jump back up to middleweight. We already talked about Whitaker.
Although this is off the rails and I love it.
Yes. Israel Adesanya.
The fucking Kitsune thing from Naruto.
God, just because he's a weeb, you're gonna
Yeah,
make
pretty
Kitsune?
much.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I mean, I guess so. Like, I guess, but that feels a little bit too easy. I don't know. Like, he also strikes me someone who's like something lanky, you know?
No, there was
Something.
a. Why did my friend says a gazelle because he keeps running? Oh my god, dude, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Bruh. I mean, like, you're out of line, but are you wrong? I don't know. All right, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave those on the table.
No, I think Robert Whitaker would be a good kangaroo though.
Yeah, dude,
Or like a wombat or something.
No, kangaroo is perfect. He's the Australian fighter. You know.
And like I said earlier, he'll kick the fuck out of you.
Yeah, he'll kick you, he'll punch you. You know.
That head kick combo he played on Cannoneer back in the day was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was disgusting.
He's good. He's good. It's a shame he gets disrespect from some folks though these days.
Oh, dude, the amount of disrespect Robbie gets is actually annoying.
I mean,
I'm one of them.
I was about to say. I mean, look,
Wait a minute, it's me. It's me. I'm the problem.
And while we're here, Marvin Tory. We call him an orc a lot, but if we were to translate that to a fursona, what would that be?
Oh god.
Like a bear?
Just like a deranged bear.
It'd be like yeah, like some sort of bear. I don't know. I don't have a better idea for him. Um,
I mean, like I can see him like a grizzly bear. I mean, he definitely has aggression for it.
yeah. Yeah, that could work. That could work. All right. Colby Covington. He's got to be Snake, right?
No.
Really? He's always spitting venom, and he does wrestle.
Okay, yeah.
Like
I mean,
he
like
is. He's
Colby would
Snake.
be like a. I was gonna say like, some sort of like dog breed.
Oh,
He's
you know,
definitely strikes
he's
me as
definitely one
like
of
a
those.
pit
He's
bull,
definitely one of those yappy small dogs. I think.
a
Like
Bichon.
yeah, like a Bichon or like a Chihuahua or something. You know, like something with all bark, no bite. I mean, look, he has some bite. Okay, that's a little unfair.
His
Much as I hate on him, he can fight.
it's
Um,
Colby is an interesting character. I've talked about him to you a lot because
yeah,
there's this really good documentary out. And we're kind of switching gears because this is just kind of like a general talking about the fighters segment now too. But there's a really good documentary by a guy named Patrick Gavia.
mhm,
Um, and it's just kind of like the dichotomy of Colby of like heel and like what's an act and what's real. And
right.
it's definitely I was watching that and then I was talking to one of our friends. It's definitely one of those he lost himself in the character. And I think he's so far into it he doesn't know where it ends and where it begins.
Yeah, no, I mean Dan Hooker said was he gave an interview about Colby saying like, you know, they basically have to sneak him in and out of the Performance Institute these days. They won't even put him in the hotel with the rest of the fighters because he's going to get murked by somebody. Like
But like
he's really surrounded himself on all sides with enemies.
but I don't think he thought it would ever go to this like level.
I mean, play
Because
stupid games, win stupid prizes.
yeah, and then like once you just kind of keep doing it, you just kind of become your own character, and it's kind of tragic if you think about it. But then in the documentary, Patrick's the narrator's like, yeah, he actually has like a degree in like sociology or something like that, or like
Oh,
social
yeah.
behavior, and I'm
Well,
like,
that's
that
good
makes
to know.
so much sense.
Yeah, he knows what buttons to push. I mean, look,
Like,
I've seen, he's dropped the act a little bit. Like I remember right after he lost to Kamaru Usman the second time, right at the end of the fight, he gave him a hug. He said, "It's all love, it's all sell the fight, in the octagon." And then he went right back to it afterward. But
I
like,
do think
he did
the
mention
Jorge Masvidal thing, I do think that's actually genuine and legit.
probably,
But
yeah,
I think him like calling out like all the guys who are in different weight classes and then just kind of getting under their skin. I think that's an act. That's definitely an act.
yeah. I think you're right.
And he
Like
does a
I
good
said,
job of it. Like he's a heel. He does a really good job being a heel.
yeah, that's true. That's true. He's very, very easy to hate. So
And it sells fights.
he does sell fights.
The
You're right.
man knows how to market.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I feel like he's some sort of
Like yappy dog.
yeah, some sort of yappy dog.
God, I see so many
Um,
fucking yappy dogs at work. It's so
I know.
annoying.
I figure you know better than I do.
Oh my god, it's like a fucking Maltese or something.
Yeah, Maltese is my first thought.
You can
Exactly.
literally just punt him to the ether and he still won't shut up.
Exactly. Um, I did mention Kamaru. Um, what do you think for him?
I mean, I know we've said it a million times, but like Kamaru's like a silverback gorilla.
Really? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's the man who can really
He's
like
he's like an actual silverback gorilla. The dude can
not
will
like all these gorillas.
fucking
Yeah,
he'll fucking throw you. He'll punch you. He'll just with just so much ferocity.
not like all these other gorilla nicknames. Like I think he's the one who lives
These
up.
are the fake gorillas.
Like Darren Till is not a gorilla. I don't care if that's his nickname. He's too tentative for that. He doesn't have the power. Darren Till would be like a gibbon at best. I think. So like I don't know. But I think yeah, Kamaru has the gorilla attitude. I think he is all that.
All right, let's do
We got to do Edwards. I'm sorry. He's champ. I can't disrespect.
Edwards. Oh god. That's a hard one.
I feel like that is a difficult one.
What's something that's like super disrespected, but it's actually kind of OP and kind of cool?
The iguana thing came up again, but I don't know about disrespected. Maybe like some sort of like
Or just like not disrespected,
unhealthy
but like
snake.
definitely swept under the rug a bit and not really given that much time of day.
Right.
Because that's pretty much like Leon Edwards' whole career.
Yeah, pretty much. But also, with killer one-shot power, he could be a scorpion.
Ooh.
He's got the sting,
And he's
clearly.
kind of small for mid or welterweight too.
No, he's pretty tall.
Is he? Is he tall?
I mean, look, he
I don't know. Him standing up against Kamaru Usman, anyone looks kind of small.
No, he was way taller than Usman. What do you mean?
Am I just misremembering all
Usman is
this?
very small. Like they're both listed as the same height, but they are not the same height.
That's like the story of Alexander Volkov versus Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, exactly.
They build him as like I forget was it like 6'6" or something like that, but he's like way taller in real life.
Yeah, Volkov is huge.
Volkov is massive.
Yeah. All right, we did lightweight already. Volkanovski. I'm sort of running out of ideas here. I kind of just want to get
Volkanovski's a pit bull.
I just want to get to Davison Figueiredo so I can call him a piranha.
Well, there you are.
Yeah. But we'll get to. I'm skipping ahead of myself here. You think Pitbull for Volk?
Yeah, he's got that attitude. He
does have that attitude.
He's willing to go into those fights, but he's also just like a really nice guy, like genuinely a nice person.
He's great, but he's no nonsense. And he's top. He's the top pound for pound fighter in the UFC for a reason. So, yeah. Yair's too easy. Yair, because his nickname is La Pantera. Right?
La Pantera.
And I think that fits him pretty well.
If only he was all, skill.
He is all skill, just not anything else.
Just not when he needs it to be.
He's all flash. That's what he is. He's all flash.
It's annoying. I like him too.
I'm tempted to call Max Holloway into this, but I don't really have any ideas for him,
I don't know, like a fucking shark or something from Hawaii.
Maybe, I guess.
Is that too on the nose?
Maybe. I don't know. I can't think of anything for him, but he's worth mentioning.
Like, what animal is from Hawaii that's actually pretty dope?
Hawaii has a ton of dope animals because since they were so geographically isolated so long ago, all the animals have evolved to be very very distinct from anything on the mainland. But that's nerd.
Okay, nerd.
Yeah, I know. Look at me, fucking nerd over here. No, but yeah, I don't know. I'll have to come back. I think I'll tweet that out after the episode goes up. I'll think about that one. TJ Dillashaw is the actual snake. He's
the actual. He's literally the snake in the grass.
Yeah, but like not even like a cool snake. He's like a garter snake.
Not even a cool snake, just like a really stupid milk snake.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, or no, like what's the one between milk snake and corn snake? Which one is the one that's venomous? Not the venomous one is my point. Milk snake is the non-venomous one, I think.
Right.
He's that. Because he thinks he can spit venom. Then he comes up against Dominic Cruz, who I think we should talk about. I think that would be a good one. Dominic Cruz is the threat. I think Dominic Cruz is the corn snake.
I was gonna say Dominic Cruz is like the Chihuahua, honestly.
No, Chihuahuas are too annoying though. Like
Dude, have you heard him talk? I love Dom Cruz, but have you heard him talk? He's super annoying.
He's annoying, but not in a yappy way. He's annoying. Fair. He's annoying, but that's because his takes are bad and he's very stuck up sometimes. Like I get like a rooster vibe from him.
A rooster. He's kind of fronts a bit.
Yeah.
Or like a peacock or something.
The peacock is great for him. That's a good one. But he's not like flashy enough. For like maybe a female peacock, because they're the brown ones.
No, but he's got like the whole like kind of dance going on when he's like in the like his whole footwork, trying to be all flashy and cool. But yeah,
maybe an ostrich then. I don't know.
He's too short to be an ostrich.
He's too short. Yeah, you're right. some sort of bird though. He's a bird.
He's definitely a bird.
Yeah.
All right, let's do two more.
All right, let's do. I already said Figueiredo's got to be. Flyweight's easy because Figueiredo, he gives me such piranha energy. Small, fierce, will take a bite out of you. You know, and Moreno is a puppy dog.
I was about to say he's probably like a puppy dog.
He's a puppy dog.
He's like a little beagle.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone loves him, but he can also scrap if needed.
He's
Anyway,
so unassuming.
yeah, love that dude. He's great. Yeah, so I didn't end up spotlighting a lot of the actual animal nicknames we have here. I gotta give an honorable mention to Khabib the Eagle, Nurmagomedov.
I don't really think that fits him, but I
I
mean,
don't think it fits him either, but it is an animal nickname, so
I
I'd be
feel like
remiss.
it's probably a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Probably like a golden eagle.
If anyone's a bear, it would be him because he wrestled a bear as a kid.
I still find that a crazy fact.
Yep.
That's so fucking crazy.
Russia's a wild man.
They do be wilding out over there.
Yep. Yep. Anyway, yeah. So thanks for listening to talk about furry shit.
This is the most off the rails we've gotten, and I love it.
one more on the puppy dog thing. Stephen Thompson is the Labrador Retriever, right?
He's the absolute Labrador Retriever.
Yeah, everyone loves him.
How can you not love him?
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man. I feel like I could have been more creative about this. I think I'm gonna keep thinking about this, and if I think of anything
Dude,
more
just tweet
creative,
him.
I'll
Just
put
tweet
out
him
some
out.
tweets. Because
Get
I feel like
get some pictures in there too.
yeah. I feel like I could have done better with this. Because character design is my whole thing. So
It really is.
yeah, I'm
Can confirm it really is.
such a nerd about it. Holy shit.
It's
Yeah. If it wasn't clear, we're both fucking nerds here. So
I'm a giant fucking nerd.
yep.
I've literally been looking at Warhammer shit this entire
Oh,
time.
we forgot to do the women's divisions. Let's do those real quick.
All right, cool. Amanda Nunes, Lioness, done.
Yeah, I mean that one's easy. But I mean, aside from her, like I'm also thinking like strawweight,
Zhang Weili, Red Panda, done.
Oh, come on! You can't just say that because she's Asian.
No, I'm not saying that because she's Asian. It's just very coincidental that she is.
No, look. As somebody whose primary sona was for the longest time and still is, it's a long story, a red panda. Red pandas are too fucking derpy and stupid to be threatening like that. Okay,
That's fair.
like no. I
You're
will
right.
take the
She's
piss out of my
neither
own
derpy nor stupid.
Exactly. She'd be like, she's a badger, I think.
She's definitely like a honey badger.
Yeah. More honey badger than whoever I said was a honey badger before, which I
She
think
will
was Michael Chandler.
fuck your shit up, but she's kind of adorable.
Yes. And Valentina.
Ooh, what would she be?
I almost
Some sort of
want to give
cat,
her like some sort of like a
like a
like a
puma or something.
Puma. We said Puma at the same time, so yeah.
Oh, nice.
It tracks.
Oh, hell yeah, Batman.
She's part Peruvian, I think, and I think there's Pumas there. And
She's
also
not
like
part Peruvian. She's happened to live there for a long time, which I think she has like dual citizenship.
oh really? Okay, got it. But yeah, no. So I think Puma's pretty because she's sleek and will kill you.
It will murder you
in any way possible. I guess Carla Esparza's champion. I can't disrespect her like that. I don't think she'll stay champion long. But I mean, when are
that's
they
gonna
fighting?
be a fun
2-1 or
fight.
2-8? Yeah. When are those two fighting? Curious.
I want to say December. I could be wrong.
November 12th.
Oh,
So
even sooner.
That's on 281 then, I think. So let's see. Her nickname's Cookie Monster. She's a wrestler. I feel like I don't know. I don't really have a good answer for her.
I have nothing for her. Like that's a hard one actually.
I'll get back to it. If I was gonna
this is gonna keep you up at night, isn't it?
If I was gonna pick a Pokemon, it would be Dunsparce. I don't know why. That's just the vibe I get.
Nerd.
But I love Dunsparce. So, I don't know. I feel like I should have thought about Pokemon ones for this too. But we'll talk more about Pokemon ones later. We've got another topic lined up where we'll go into depth about some of that.
All right, one more. Rose Namajunas.
Rose Namajunas.
What's boring?
No, come on. Look, she had one boring fight. You can't just call her boring. Okay, she had two boring fights.
That's more than enough for me.
She's also got the look, though. Like I would say like a rat. you know, because she's like tough. And,
Yeah,
you know,
she's got like grit.
or like a possum, you know,
Ooh,
something
Possum would be
like
really good.
yeah, possum would be good for her, I think. Or like
And
a hate.
just like a possum's lifespan, her her
Damn,
reign wasn't that long.
damn. Look, you don't have to go in on her like that. Holy shit. Like she look to
Don't
be
mind me.
Rose is a good fighter.
She
She
really is.
got the bit.
I'm dunking on her way too much. I just
Yeah,
think she
and
has very questionable coaching that
yes,
led to her downfall.
yes, and like, look, and that's saying something like, look, a coach has to be really bad to take you know, to have Trevor Whitman on the team and not listen to him and coach the fighter to a dull title loss like that. So Pat Barry is one of the worst coaches in the sport, and he is a terrible person for reasons I will not go into further. I already,
Yeah, you guys can look that one up on your own.
yeah, no, I
I don't
already
want to
mentioned
talk about that.
I mentioned it on another episode already. I won't go further into it, but I do not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so anyway, thanks for listening to our furry bullshit. We'll wrap it up there. If again, I'm gonna keep thinking about this. If I think of anything better, I'll put something up there because I feel like I could have done better. But yeah,
But yeah, so I guess that wraps up this unhinged episode.
yes, we went all over the place today. But you know what? That's how we roll.
It really I really do know my ADHD medicine is worn off when this type of shit happens.
Fair
No,
enough.
it's always fun though. We'll definitely have, even though it's gonna be an off week, we'll definitely have an episode next week.
Yeah, we've got
We'll
we've
probably
got
just
another
bullshit.
we've got
I
another
have. Sorry, go ahead.
we've got another furry topic in mind for next week.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I
So,
actually, I'm gonna make you watch some Pride fights because I want to talk about Pride soon.
sure, I'm
Um,
down. Let me know. All right.
but thank you for listening to another episode of the podcast. Please give us a follow on Twitter at DogfightPod. You can follow me on my personal at Uriah Stone.
And on mine at SethNY.
And we're trying to get we have a Discord server up. I'll probably throw the link into either into the description, or you can just DM the Twitter page. I can throw your link there too. But we kind of want to open up the Discord so we can host like watch parties, get some more like interaction with you guys, and especially like with these big pay-per-views. I think having like a watch party would be really fun.
For sure, yeah. And like again, like if there's anything y'all want us to talk about, like definitely hit us up. We're always trying to come up with content you guys want to listen to. So any and all feedback is appreciated, and we appreciate you.
But thank you, and we'll catch you guys next time.
See ya.